Happy Friday, everybody. Oh, boy, do we have a show ready for you. Welcome to Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, where gossip meets the gavel and every scandal gets cross-examined. Tonight's docket is dripping with chaos, as well as controversy and courtroom-worthy drama. We've got your favorite stars caught in legal warfare. We have flying lawsuits, marriages crumbling, empires shaking, and reputations are all on trial. From Kanye West, wow, wild accusations against the Kardashians about sex trafficking, to Tony Buzbee walking away from Diddy like a judge slamming the gavel. We got all the facts, the fallout, as well as the fury. Oh, and did I mention a potential murder charge against a chart-topping rapper? This isn't just tabloid tea. This is the legal hot lava. So grab your popcorn, polish your gavels, and prepare to deliberate, because court is now in session. Let's introduce our legal beagles tonight. First up, the author of Shit They Never Taught You in Law School, Attorney Rice. Welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Thank you, Your Honor. I had to put writing volume 2 of the book aside for a little bit to get on the show tonight, but I'm ready to go.
Absolutely. And I want to promote his son's website, www. Pole for Life. It comes with the book. We're gonna leave that alone right there for tonight. Next up, let's give a fire emoji for that fiery civil attorney, Shatan Turner. Welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Glad to be back, Your Honor. I'm going to reserve comment on that website.
He's 18, and it's a charity for long pole lacrosse players, raising funds for helmets and sticks and gloves.
Long pole for life.
Hey, that's what they're called. They're called long pole middies.
All right, and last but not least, humorous at law, Sean Carter. Come on into the courtroom, buddy. Welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Speaking of long poles,
I'll
take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, no, I ain't making no promises like that. You gonna get what you get.
All right, they started already, everybody. All right, algorithm, grab your drinks. We're going to be sipping tonight on Friday night show. And also, please hit the like button. Come on in here and hit the like button. And also don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, be sure to hit the share button and invite your friends over, because that tells me tonight's going to be a pretty interesting show. Also, don't forget to turn on your notifications. We got some new shows coming soon, real soon. And last but not least, jump down into the comments, because we love having you here. Okay, now this has really gotten interesting in the last week. Let's start with our man who lives at the intersection of genius and controversy. Or is it stupidity and controversy? Yes, I'm talking about Kanye West. He has once again lit the internet on fire with a string of disturbing online rants, accusing his ex-wife Kim Kardashian and her family of, yep, you heard it correct, sex trafficking. But it doesn't stop there. He took aim at long-term friends Jay-Z and Beyoncé, using ableist slurs against their children and pushing them to the brink of legal action. This isn't just messy, it's potentially defamatory, dangerous, and career damaging. Could Ye finally be talking himself into a courtroom he can't walk out of? We're going to find out tonight. I'm going to throw to you, Sean Carter. Sean Carter, which do you want to unpack first? The defamation with Jay-Z and Beyoncé, or the RICO sex trafficking claims that he's making against his ex-wife and their family?
Let's start with the Jay-Z and Beyonce kids. The two allegations he made, one, he says that they were born by in vitro fertilization. I don't know if that's true. Doesn't matter. All right, nobody is going to be upset about that. The claim that they have intellectual disabilities, though, is an issue. It's an issue from a legal standpoint. As you know, we all talk about this every week: defamation, saying bad things about some people. But the thing is, there are 4 categories of things you can't say about people. If you say about them, they are called defamation per se, or if you're black, Percy. All right. And Percy, all right, defamation. One of them is saying that someone is either suffers from alcoholism, drug addiction, or has a mental disability. So that becomes a thing where you don't have to prove damages. They don't say, oh, they threw me off the playground, so therefore I'm entitled to $2.1 million. If you say something about someone like that, you can just automatically say, give me all your money, or at least a lot of it. And so he has some legal things here. Jay-Z, by the way, is talking to his lawyers every day. I think they sleep in the guest bedroom at the Carter Mansion. So we're going to talk about that later, right? He's close with his lawyers. So it's not like it's hard for him to make a call and say, hey, why don't y'all go ahead and handle this too? And that is a big firm that can handle anything. Kanye's getting himself in this situation where apparently he made a bet. Anyone, if you got to be old, remember this. Anybody remember the movie Brewster's Millions? With
Richard Pryor.
You got to be 40 and over to remember that. All right. The goodness of that was Brewster had inherited $30 million, but the rule was he could go for $300 million if he spent all $30 million. I think in like 90 days.
Yep.
Kanye had about $1 billion. I think he made a bet with someone, maybe Elon. He could get $100 billion, but he got to blow it all within 30 days. And
say the stupidest things ever while spending the money.
Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to Attorney Carter. Let's go back because I honestly, I'm just going to say how I felt. I mean, he's not lying though. So does it matter if it's true? Because we know that their kids are from in vitro, right? And we also we know, or was it surrogate? I'm not sure. But we also know, right, that they have learning disabilities.
Well, in vitro and surrogate go together because you can't get a surrogate pregnancy without in vitro.
Right. So tell me if can he be? Can he?
Right. So if it's true, right? Here's the thing about it, though, is, and if we all know that, it's one thing. I didn't know that. All right. And the answer is, if something is true, you still can be sued, all right, for invasion of privacy. So, for instance, my wife's alleged slips, all right? That might not be true, but all right, the fact that I told it on the YouTube means that I'm gonna get my butt whooped when I go in the house. All right, you see the point, right? Even if it's true, you can't necessarily tell people's business. So if it's something that he learned in confidence, wherever, then he has possible invasion of privacy, intentional infliction of emotional distress, trying to hurt somebody with information, right, that they wouldn't necessarily know to be out there. So he's not in the best legal footing on that regard. Now, with regard to Kim Kardashian, this is wild. All right. You accuse your children's mother of trafficking,
and her mother of by the way, your billionaire mother.
See, I don't know a lot about rich people. I haven't been rich yet, but I do know that rich people don't normally traffic their own kids. All right, that's what poor people are for. All right, you go traffic their kids. All right, but you're not going to traffic your own damn kids. You got money. All right, and so they're not going to pay as much as you have. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. It's a ridiculous allegation. But at some point, Kanye is going to work himself into a position where he's almost sue-proof, because basically no one is going to take him seriously, right? It's not like if he becomes like that crack addict on the corner. Nobody ever sues a crack addict on the corner for what he said.
Nobody arrests the crack addict,
right? Nobody arrests him. Nobody think about him because you know what? Who could believe him? And Kanye's
he's going to keep going.
There were two things that he accused them of separately.
Okay.
The first one was that they were sex workers. The second one was that they were sex trafficking and that they had some ill intent for the Black children they strategically produce.
Oh, strategically produce.
Okay, so help me understand that, because help me understand that, attorney, because I don't understand the allegation and how it could be proven, even in the worst way. What does he mean? When he's saying that the Kardashian family is sex trafficking, who's sex trafficking who? So is he saying that the mother is sex trafficking her kids to famous Black men and in the entertainment industry? Is that what he's claiming?
Well, no one knows what he's claiming. He don't know what he's claiming.
Twitter, right? So we can infer things from the words, but to Attorney Weiss's point, we don't know specifically what he's claiming. But
I know, but we know that he's claiming that sex trafficking is occurring.
Well, but he called her a sex worker. That's probably one that
He probably thinks if you're having sex in the back of a car, that's considered sex trafficking because you're having sex while you're in traffic. So you got to remember. I mean, look, here in Florida, we have something called the Baker Act, right? And that means that he can involuntarily be taken into custody because he is a harm to himself or others. So I think what needs to be done is I'm going to produce a new show. It's going to be called Baker Act with Weiss, and it's going to be Kanye and Wendy Williams, and I'm going to narrate the whole thing, and we're going to go ahead and do it. No, I mean, look. There's comedy there. And Attorney Turner is going to explain legally that nobody's paying attention to this guy. And there's reason.
I understand that. I need for somebody to explain to me, though, if he's claiming that it's sex trafficking, that means someone's selling someone to someone for money. For profit.
Let's put the tweet up.
But I'm just saying. Hold on, y'all.
Put up the tweet. Right.
Hold on. One at a time, please. Someone explain to me. Kim Kardashian is a sex trafficker, so that means that she is offering her kids up, right?
That's a reach a little bit. That one sentence, Kim Kardashian is a sex trafficker, means that she has transported someone for the purposes of having sex.
All right.
It does not mean that it's her kids,
that
right?
It's a kid,
and it doesn't mean money,
right? It just means it was transported for the purposes of sex.
Correct. There could be other consideration. It doesn't have to be cash.
Right. My soul is black.
He says the Kardashians are sex workers and they sex traffic all of the black children they strategically produce. That means their kids. Yeah. That means her nieces and nephews. That means her sister's kids. So that does mean that sex trafficking. You can't be sex trafficking if a transaction does not happen where money is exchanged.
Well, no. This is what Attorney Weiss is saying, and it's important for the algoriters to understand so that they do not invite sex trafficking claims. So if you transport someone for the purpose of sex and you get something of value, then that is the sex trafficking. So it doesn't have to be money.
Okay, got it. So give me an example of what he could be talking about, because y'all are confusing the hell out of me.
It could be dinner. It could be a hotel room. It could be a trip on a yacht. Like, none of these things would be of interest to the Kardashians because they could get them for themselves. But anything of value would be. But the reason why he's actually making Kim's case for getting sole custody of these children, legal and physical, is because he's accused her of a crime. So as a mother, right, she is going to go into court, take these tweets and say, you know what, this is not, she's going to do it early because she doesn't want it to be an Attorney Weiss's thing, right? Whereas he's so crazy, no one takes it seriously. She wants to say, look, he's accused me of a crime. People might believe it. I have a brand to protect, but more importantly, cheers, Your Honor. I have my children to protect, and he is unstable. He's acting not in the best interest because forget what he said about me. He says our children are prostitutes.
Right. That's what I'm trying to get at here. So he is claiming that the Kardashians are pimping their kids.
He's actually saying a little bit more, right? What he's saying about the children they strategically produce, it suggests that the reason that they are having black children is for the purposes of sex trafficking them. It's really maniacal.
It's and then his choices of women
and remember they're also a surrogate and in vitro, so they're not their own, biologically they may not be their children. I mean, they may have something to do with it, but they're not.
They are. Yeah.
No, Kim had those kids, right?
I watched the
show.
No,
she didn't have those kids. They had a surrogate.
Gestational carrier. So she hired a gestational carrier, but not for all of them. She was pregnant with North.
One.
Potentially the second one, I don't recall. But the other two were created by embryos that were the result of her egg and Kanye's sperm. So they just hired a host to carry the kids. So they are their biological children. She just didn't carry them.
All right, everybody. I told you it was going to get heated in here tonight. Next up, in a twist that sounds straight out of a Netflix crime docu-series, Rapper Yella Beezy has been arrested in connection with the 2020 murder of fellow rapper Mo3. The beef between these two artists was well documented, but now the law is asking, was it more than just words? The arrest reopens wounds in the hip-hop community and could spell the end to Beezy's career if the case sticks. But with so few details confirmed, the court of public opinion is left wondering just how deep does this story go? All right, Attorney Turner. No, we're going to go to Carter. Back to Carter on this. Tell me exactly what evidence is required to escalate an arrest into a murder charge.
Obviously, there needs to be something that you can convince a grand jury that you have enough proof, all right, to go to trial. You've got receipts. You know, in this case, for instance, the allegation is that was it yellow mustard Beezy B or whatever the hell his name is. He had actually hired, right, hit for hire type thing. So they're going to have financial records, or you know, cell phone communications, text messages. Right, that type of thing, to be able to have some allegation. Now, here's the thing. Let's go back and we're going to get to the video because I think that the person there really explains it well. But just so we set it up, 2000, the two of these are beefing back and forth like Diddy and Biggie. All right, Mo3 at one point been shot. He got the Tupac role. He's running around talking I'm bad. They're talking about each other, and they're kind of, as we're going to see here, downplaying the feud. And then we have this. And let's see what the video shows us.
Definitely. I did want to ask this is you barely acknowledged it. You barely ever had anything to say about it, but there was a lot of tension, at least on records or people talking online between you and Mo3. Now that he's passed, how do you view all that? Like, are you able to admit that he was, you know, an important factor in the city for that period of time, or is it still just you can't say anything?
Nah, I ain't never had no tension with nobody.
Right.
That was it.
When Yella Beezy got shot up, what were your thoughts about that?
Shit, I gotta stay out the way.
Charge Yella Beezy.
You got what?
They're saying in this paperwork right here, they're alleging that Yella Beezy had a murder for hire. He basically hired man's name that y'all see on the screen, Keywan Wright, the guy that you guys saw in that video. They're saying that he hired that man to murder Mo3.
Ooh.
And just so we're clear, how this happens is 2020, and Mo3 is driving down the highway on I-35. Car starts coming up to him, and Mo realizes immediately he's in danger. Interestingly enough, he decides to pull over and try to run away. The guy gets out of the car, has a pew-pew, does the pewing, and we got it on video. It's all because we got cameras everywhere all over the highways. And so there's actually a video of this. Now, just two things about this. One, if someone is chasing you, do not leave a vehicle that goes faster than you can run. That's not going to be helpful for you, all right? If someone's chasing you in your car, you keep driving the car is going to be faster than you, all right? That's a little thing. The other thing, though, it's kind of tragic here, is this happened in 2020. They had him on video. They picked him up that day, all right? Everybody knew who he was.
The killer of Mo3.
Well, exactly, killer Mo3. He is in jail now, not on the murder conviction. They still haven't had a trial for that. He's in jail on a separate federal gun charge. He got 9 years on that. And it looks like, I'm guessing, don't know, the DA won't announce it, but he's decided that he would like to get out at some point before he's 130. And so it looks like he's going to be the one saying, hey, Mo3, Beezy made me do this, and Beezy paid me this, and this, that, and the other. But because, though, he is already a convicted felon, his story is going to, and an admitted murderer, his story is going to be a little shaky. No one's necessarily going to believe it, so he's going to have receipts. I have to believe that the prosecution has his receipts. By the way, the reason I think so is because it took him 4 years. All right, you wouldn't wait 4 years to bring a case that you didn't have any evidence for.
Right.
I expect that they got the goods on him, and Beezy.
Confession.
You know, I imagine that this guy will turn state's evidence, say he did it, and then implicate the hirer. And it's interesting because if you notice this, that the person who actually commits the act doesn't get as much time normally as the person who hired you.
Yeah.
right? So and that's how you can get people to turn state's evidence and say, hey, well, I can get less time. So, but he's still gonna get 20, 30 years. He's gonna be wrong. His beard gonna look like this, all right, when he get out, or worse.
Snitches get stitches, though.
Well,
let me ask you this, Attorney Weiss, really quickly. Will this arrest impact? Can Beezy still release or promote music until?
Yeah, why not? I mean, look, a record label might say there's a moral clause and we're not going to do it. He'll release it on his own. He can go on iTunes and do it. He can go on YouTube and do it. He can go. So I think, it gives him street cred, and he's going to get more views, more looks, more downloads, more likes, more sympathy, and more plays. So I think it's good. The old movie Get Shorty, when Harry Zim was accused of murdering somebody, they said he should have murdered somebody 30 years ago because his movies would have been a hit. Same thing. I mean, that's what it is. People care, right? We cover these stories. I honestly didn't know who either one of these guys were until this story tonight. And I think I'm dumber for knowing who they are.
Danielle Cameron said, why haven't these rappers figured out how to call Pookie and Junebug? You can't do your own dirty work. Venetia Phillips says Kim had 2 kids, and I guess she's saying 2 were surrogate, right? Mm-hmm. Abby NYC, welcome back. What's the song sound like if it's attitude note that irritates my ears? Venetia, let's see. Brenda O said, who the heck names these people? What happened to Ray Ray and Junebug? Tanya Kelly said, any rap irritates my ears. Too old for that. JP Mills says, he better get more to say. He's getting the death penalty. Ooh, that's pretty tough. TV says Kanye West got caught overseas getting slobbed up by Bianca in public. Kim K can file full custody based on that incident. That's interesting. And Venetia Phillips says, it's sad how these young guys making millions can't spend it only on Canteen. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I don't understand that either. It's very interesting. All right, everybody, be sure to hit that like button.
Canteen, though, he should keep making music as long as he can. He can put more money on his books, and he can get cigarettes, and he could trade for safety and all that kind of stuff once he gets in prison.
Once he gets in prison, he can set it up like get credit. All right, everybody, hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, be sure to hit the share button. Invite some friends over to enjoy the show. Also, don't forget to turn on your notifications and keep dropping down into those comments. Oh, my goodness. Guess who we're talking about next? Who knew? Billionaires have baby mama drama, too. Elon Musk. Yep, you heard me right. Elon Musk, a multi-billionaire, Twitter troll, and now courtroom defendant. Musk is facing legal heat after influencer Ashley St. Clair filed a lawsuit claiming he promised financial support and ghosted her. Now sources say Musk has cut off support entirely and said, how dare you question me? I'm the richest man in the world. And many are asking, is this strategic legal maneuvering or a billionaire tantrum gone too far? As one of the richest men in the world, Musk is no stranger to controversy, but when personal deals start turning into public lawsuits, even Elon's reputation might be at risk. All right, we're going to go to you, Shaitan, on this. Now, I just want to make sure we have all the facts, okay? We have the richest man in the world. He has 9 kids, correct? It's about 9 kids. Got a lot of them. Got an influencer girlfriend who he's got pregnant. So he's out here trolling the net like the football players. Right?
He's living free and taking chances.
He's out here behaving like the football players that we always are arguing with about not using condoms. Okay, because he's not using condoms. However, he's the right-hand man to our 45th president, Donald Trump, and head of DOGE.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned head because he's thinking with one of them. And apparently that one gets him in a lot of trouble. I don't know if you saw his hat. I think it said, make deadbeat dads great again. I don't know what it says. I can't read. I don't have my glasses on. But that's what I think it says. And so if you want to know the tea, and it's available publicly because I'm not friends with either one of them, apparently they got connected because she tweeted something and they started doing DMs. So lessons for the algoriters. If you want the come up, Billionaires are men too. And so you can DM with one of them in the side. You can orchestrate a romantic evening, and then you can get set up because ultimately she's going to get her money, right? So right now she's trying to leverage a promise, but all she needs is a paternity test showing that Elon Musk is the baby daddy, and she can get child support just like the rest of them. So it's just not that complicated. The reason why this is newsworthy right now is because he's saying no, which is kind of surprising. But I think sometimes people get emboldened. Well, what did Biggie say? Don't get high on your own supply. I think that he got high on his own supply.
Yeah, I was trying to show the Elon Musk, the Cybertruck, and it's just not showing up. Big garbage dumpster, and the same day that we're covering this story, they're recalling every single Cybertruck because of windshield problems. It's a 15th recall, so he might not be able to support or pay anything here.
He better hope his stock goes up because 9 kids, like, that's expensive. And he got the little one that was in the Oval Office that were saying those negative things about the president. And so here's what we need to recognize. This is salacious and newsworthy because of who he is. But at the end of the day, Your Honor, you framed it the right way. This is the same as we talked about last week with the NBA player who wasn't trying to acknowledge his kid and was up for child support. And that's what this is going to be reduced to. But good for her for getting some extra publicity because she's an influencer. So what does she want? The same thing that we all want who are on this show right now. She wants likes. Like us.
I liked us. I just logged in, liked us. We're good.
All right. Sandra McGee said, Al, he's the 47th elected president. I didn't want to give him 45. So thank you for that. And Danielle Cameron said, Elon over here trying to figure out how to save his company. He ain't got time for baby mama drama. Elon asked Wig to sign something, eliminate child support. Queen of Everything says his plant is for the streets. Ooh. Tanya Kelly says, doesn't Elon have Asperger's syndrome? SL says
he like the ass and burgers. Yeah.
and he's got some sort of syndrome going on. So yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw to you, Attorney Carter. So what does she have to prove? But what does she have to prove besides this verbal contract or expectations?
No. Remember, the verbal contract or whatever is something that verbal won't count. All right, it has to be a written contract. If it's not, then she's gonna have rights of child support. And just like they go on Maury Povich show, all right, and they figure out who the daddy. Now, here's the thing about this: she filed this case in New York. I took a look at this. She would have been better off, all right, if she hadn't pissed off Elon and he just paid her the money. New York has an $183,000 statutory cap on child support fees. You could possibly go a little bit over that, but I know Elon was throwing out more than $15,000 a month. He probably writing her $100,000. You think about it, what would be money to Elon? So
why would she be advised? Why would a lawyer advise her to do it in the state of New York?
Because that's where she lives. You don't have a choice.
Oh, she doesn't have a choice. I would have moved to Los Angeles.
That's what happened last week with Anthony Richards. The woman was Georgia, moved to California to try to get the California money. He said, no. You got to. I knocked you up in Georgia. That's where that's where you live at the time. That's where it goes. So she could have tried to go to California. Definitely a better place. It's kind of sad in the sense that normally we think that if Elon had $100 billion, then the baby's going to get at least $1 billion. Nope. Right. New York, they got a lot of rich bankers and lawyers there. They cut that off. All right. You give most $15,000 a month, unless you're black. But normally you
did all of this for $15,000 a month.
Yeah, I know.
I would take $15,000 a month. I'm just saying, I got 3 kids. You could do a lot with $15,000 a month. Granted, she could get more if she did it someplace else, but I'm just saying. But I have another question. This is super catty, and I shouldn't say it. But it's late. Maybe.
Oh, we got to hear it now.
Did anybody else look at the picture of the two of them side by side and think, how did he not know that she was in it for the money? I'm just saying, she's beautiful and
she's gorgeous.
I would think, honestly, this is what we got into the argument about last week, which you guys totally didn't catch what I was saying. I would think for him, this is no money to con a woman out of some sex, some unprotected sex. He don't care. The most he got to pay is $15,000. He probably spends that in 2 hours in a day. So it's like for him, it's no money. Right? He's just toying with these. He's just toying with all these little sleazy little girls that are hitting him up online. It's only $15,000. That's no money to him.
But here's the thing: is he got to know that they are throwing up in their mouth the whole time, right? Hopefully, he's not running around thinking, "Oh, she want to get all up on this muskie." She got to know that she's in there like, "Okay, and 15 grand's gonna be worth it. 15 grand's gonna be worth it."
Plus, he knows that if he does anything criminal, his buddy's going to pardon him anyway, so it don't matter. So
I can imagine that Elon Musk, and I don't know, I'm just assuming because I've seen this with clients, past clients and people, they pay that much money a month. They pay that much money for their side chicks.
Yeah. I mean, that's no money for him.
But
and someone here in the comments,
Muskie was dusky. He thinks the Muskie is fire, right? So he's not thinking that like Attorney Carter's saying. He's going up in there and be like, "Hey, I'm me," right?
Right, I'm Elon.
Right, exactly. And so he believes that he's getting high in his own supply. But at some point, right, even the richest of these, I'm not one of them, but he's going to get tired of paying out all that child support to all those kids. And when those kids all show up at their at his house for a holiday, because here's what I would do, because I'm that kind of petty. I would drive the kid and I'd call the other baby moms and be like, "Look, let's just take him to their daddy for, I don't know, Easter, right? Ring the doorbell and go away." And then he's got to deal with all of it.
He'd be stuck with him. JP Mills says he looked like he smells and his wing is smaller than a baby carrot.
Could you imagine the conversations that the staff on Air Force One get to oversee, you know, between him and Trump? I mean, could you imagine what they're talking about? We're flying over such and such state. Oh, I've had my, you know, I laid my eggs there and I did this and oh man, this
is just sad. But hell, honestly, she could have gotten more publicity hitting up an athlete. Anyway. All right, let's keep it moving. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, be sure to hit the share button and invite some folks over to watch the show. Don't forget to turn on your notification. And as always, continue to keep the comments coming. Next up, poor Hailey Bieber. The rumor mill has been working overtime on Hailey and Justin Bieber's marriage. But Hailey is done playing defense. The model and beauty mogul is reportedly considering legal action to shut down speculation about her marriage. Oh, that doesn't make sense. But can a lawsuit really stop a viral TikTok trend? Can't wait for Shaitan to tell us about this. In a world where rumors go viral faster than facts, Hailey's next move could change how celebrities push back against online gossip and possibly rewrite how we define defamation in the digital age. All right, Attorney Turner, tell us, can Hailey sue influencers or media outlets for spreading what she thinks are false rumors about their marriage?
I would reframe it. I wouldn't say, can she sue them for what she thinks are false rumors about her marriage? What I would say is, can she sue for false statements, right? And the answer is yes, because that's what defamation cases are about. The reason why marital defamation cases are challenging, but there are some history of successes with some celebrities, is because it's a moment in time. Like, not everybody's marriage is as secure as Attorney Weiss and Attorney Carter's. Like, Attorney Carter's wife got the slips and whatever else she has going on to keep it hot and spicy. You know, Attorney Weiss's wife is reading all of his books and probably editing them and earning all kinds of free things for him, and so he's in love for life. Other people, it's a daily struggle. And so Hailey Bieber is going to have to prove that what was written was false, and the people who knew it were aware that it was false. And so it's going to be an uphill battle, but I think it makes sense for her to pursue it. And here's why.
But why? I don't understand. Tell me why, because you are with what would be considered one of the biggest stars in the music industry. It comes with the territory, doesn't it? Like, why are you so stuck on the comment section? I would be out spending his money. I'll be on a yacht. I'll be out buying diamonds. I'll be out, with my kids. I wouldn't be worried about what people are saying about my marriage. Why do you care?
Well, Hailey does have her own money and his. I actually saw a really cute video today. They met as children. And there was a thing.
That's right.
Yeah, they did. And so, and the other thing is that she comes from a successful family. So granted, who knows how much is enough money? I've not seen it yet. So anybody who would like to date me, know that I am here for the love, but also the treats and the prizes, because I got 3 kids. But so yeah, she likes having his money. But what one aspect of this story I think that is kind of sweet is she actually seems to kind of dig him, right? She kind of thinks Justin Bieber is the hotness and she wants to still be with him. And so the reason it makes sense for her to sue is because they may be struggling in their marriage and she wants to be able to handle those private struggles among themselves. And so she wants to get the scrutiny to stop. So you're right. He is a celebrity. You're right that people can speculate, but they may have turned the wheel a bit too far. And she wants to make sure that they know that they can't mess with them.
You know what? I think personally, her uncles, right? Her uncles are Alec Baldwin and the whole Baldwin family. Right. I think that she's affected by all of that. I just don't think it makes sense to me that at this young age, because if you started now, you're going to have to put up with this for the whole duration of your life in celebrityhood. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? And that to me, she's so young. That does not make sense to me at all.
Well,
what is
the balance that everybody does though when they decide to sue? And it's all like a poker game, right? People want to see who's going to blink first. They want to see what cards are going to be played. And if she indicates that she will challenge it, the outlets may decide that they don't want to pay the lawyers, right? So that's the game that she might be trying to play is like, look, just leave us alone, because if you don't, then I'll make life hard for you. And remember, Prince Harry just got that victory with those British tabloids. So it's not like celebrities don't win when they pursue these kinds of things. And that may be what she's banking on.
All right, what were you going to say?
What is she going to do? Go to each person's house and knock on their door and say, are you celebrity stalker 1271? Yeah. Bam, punch it. I mean, look, Jay and Silent Bob did a whole thing about that on Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. That was the whole premise of their movie. Terrible movie, by the way. But that was the whole thing. What are you going to do, right? She's in the public eye. She's going to expect this. And what is she going to do? Sue some teenager, some influencer, somebody to say, don't talk about my marriage? Okay, fine. And here's a judgment against you. To do what? Not talk about you anymore? Because there's no money here. So I don't understand. She wants to flex her muscles. Then she should A, keep quiet and keep to herself. Or B, just go back and say, look, mind your own business. I love my man. That's it. And move on.
Right. I agree. What were you going to say, Attorney Carter?
I know. Attorney Weiss is preaching. Hallelujah. Amen. I'm going to start speaking in tongues. You would preach. Here's the thing that's crazy to me is this girl has been famous her whole life because of daddies and uncles and whatever. People have been talking about you since you were in diapers. They were talking about, how your diaper was too high and you were hoeing as a baby. People have been talking about you your whole life. And now you, a grown woman, fine too, and you upset that people talking about you. They supposed to talk about you. Cat Williams told us that. If you ain't got 15 haters, you doing it wrong. All right. Here's the other thing, though. I looked up the people she's mad at. So they put out a 7-part documentary on Hailey Bieber and how she's stalking Justin and made him marry and all that stuff. Whatever. The channel it's on has only 200 and something thousand subscribers. This is not all right, Pootie Pie or who's the dude to eat the bad food and does the boring stuff? Keith Lee. This is the very tiny influencer, right?
Right.
She went out and got, by the way, Cardi B's lawyer, the one who sued Tasha K.
Right.
All right. But I don't know if she want to spend the next 15 years trying to have these guys do garage sales to pay her money, assuming that she can even win. And it's one thing
it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop.
It's not going to
stop. What's that rap song about? You don't want to F with me. Like that's what she's trying to show. She's trying to show everybody don't come for Hailey. That's what
here's what she did though. But she made it the fact that I didn't even know who Hailey Bieber was. All right. I had to look. You know what I thought she was? I thought she was a black girl who got in trouble for playing Little Mermaid. All right. Or I thought maybe she was the woman who was in Monster Ball, Halle Berry. I don't know who the hell Hailey Bieber was. Now I'm all up in her marriage, right? Got to think that she was stalker because she put it out there. She did a lawsuit.
No, she wears slips. Like
exactly. Oh no, she don't wear no slips. She only wear. She looked like she don't own no drawers. So I know she ain't wearing a slip. But you didn't hear that from me.
All right, everybody. This is the last case on the docket tonight. Tony Buzbee withdraws from lawsuit against Diddy. Yep, you heard me right. Celebrity lawsuits are always high drama, but when power attorney Tony Buzbee exits stage left from a case against Diddy, everyone starts whispering. Why did he leave? Was it pressure? Was the case crumbling? Or was there something deeper happening behind the scenes? As Diddy battles a growing stack of lawsuits tied to sex trafficking and abuse allegations, the departure of a top-tier lawyer could either be a sign of strategy or a serious weakness in the case. That's what people are saying on the internet, but I'm going to go to Attorney Weiss because I want him to break it down to us because you seem to have the inside tea on this. Let me ask a question everybody wants to know. Does Attorney Tony Buzbee withdrawing suggests trouble for the accuser's case?
Okay, so Tony Buzbee withdrawing, and it really wasn't his decision to withdraw, has nothing to do with anything except what we reported on a couple of weeks ago, which was that Tony Buzbee thought he was above the law, thought he was above the requirements, and appeared in these cases when he was not allowed. If you want to, so I have the honor of saying that I am now recently admitted to the Eastern District of Missouri. Why? Because I have a client who needed a defense in a case in the Eastern District of Missouri. So what did I do? I checked the rules. You can get in two ways. I could either apply to be fully admitted, which is what I do, or
now,
you
when you say fully admitted, you mean
I am now
licensed. You now can be a lawyer for a client that lives in that state.
I can defend a case or bring a case. 100%.
So a lawyer, you can't just defend someone because they came to you and said so-and-so accused me of something. You have to make sure that you have the license in the state
or the court, because like I'm admitted in the Eastern District of Missouri, but I'm not admitted to practice in state court in Missouri or the Western court in Missouri. All he would have had to do is get admitted into the Southern District of New York. It is a form. It's a certificate of good standing. You might have to watch an online course. You pay a fee. You do whatever you have to do, and you're in. He was not admitted. Now, if he is dropping out and giving up, so the court said you can't practice here. So he had two ways to do it. Explain to the court why he did what he did, or put his tail between his legs, take his ball, and go home and say, you know what? I screwed up. Not even going to try. So he could still be involved in the case. He just can't be the lead person. And if he were to try, then he would have to explain to the court why he screwed up.
Okay, got it. So let's make sure. Let me answer the question that I asked, please. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Let's make sure you answer the question that I'm asking, because a lot of people are viewing this from the public opinion that because he's withdrawing, then his case, he has no validity. The case is weak. Therefore, all of this stuff against Diddy could possibly be, good for Diddy that he's withdrawing. So tell me, from your perspective, him withdrawing doesn't have anything to do with the state's case against Diddy.
Absolutely zero. It has to do with him getting in trouble for not obeying court rules and by practicing and standing in a court and appearing in a court without the permission to do so. If I want to go to Utah to practice law to defend one of my clients, I cannot. I can either try to get admitted by taking the test. If it's federal court, I could pay a fee and do whatever, or I can pro hoc in, but I would need a local attorney there to be the one to be my quote unquote sponsor. And that's what Busby's going to do. He already has a sponsor there. He already has somebody there. He has somebody that's going to run with these cases, and he's going to be behind the scenes. He's going to be talking. He's going to be doing all of this.
All right.
And I don't know if it's, I don't want to interrupt, but we just got news that the former heavyweight champion of the world, George Foreman.
Yeah, hold on. I was gonna bring that, but I don't want to break this up right here, right now. All right. So Kay says seems so. Kay says seems so sloppy.
100%.
The whole thing with Busby is seeming sloppy, and I really do believe that it's really going to, it's really eroding what's really on trial.
Yeah, here's one thing though. I wanted to step back just one step slightly so the algorithm don't understand, because people are saying in here it's like technical nonsense, and I think that maybe one aspect of what Attorney Weiss was explaining wasn't fully understood. People tend to believe that lawyers are licensed, and once they pass the bar, they can try cases wherever they want. And the practice of law is governed by the states that issue the licensure. And then also you have to be admitted to the court where you're planning to practice and try a case. In this case, Mr. Busby was not admitted to practice in the Southern District of New York where this case was going to be tried. I don't know if he's got some state court stuff or what, but he wasn't admitted to the Southern District of New York where this case was going to be tried. Because he wasn't admitted in the Southern District of New York where this case was going to be tried, and he was pretending like he was admitted there and doing things, the judge had no tolerance for it. And that's why he withdrew, because he was told to get out. It's kind of like if a woman kicks you out of their house and then you're like, well, I was going to leave anyway. No, you got kicked out, right? And that's what happened to Busby. He got kicked out, and that's why he ultimately withdrew. It has nothing to do with the merits of the case against Diddy. The merits of the case remain what they are. They're as strong as or as weak as they were before Busby was, before he withdrew. And so they're going to have to stand on their own, and someone else is going to have to assert the civil cases.
And what he claims, and he penned a quick letter to the court because he had to. He said it was an error in judgment, and I now seek to remedy the error by withdrawing my representation of the plaintiff in this matter, pending the resolution of my admission to the court. As an attorney in good standing of the New York State Bar, the Texas State Bar, and your sister district, the Bar for the Eastern District of the state of New York, I believe I'm qualified and shouldn't be precluded from representing plaintiff in this matter. However, at this time, my admission status has become a distraction that has shifted the focus of this matter away from where it should be, which is securing justice for the plaintiff. So he just, look, he didn't oversee. He didn't forget. He just thought he was above the rules. He went ahead. He did it. That's it, plain and simple. And then they should fine him, because that's what they do. And they put a letter in his file, and he could pay, and he could get admitted, and then everything should be going forward. And that's probably what's going to happen.
Attorney Cardi, what are your thoughts on this?
What I found most interesting about this is he has 14 cases, all right, in the Southern District of New York. This never came up until he messed up and brought Jay-Z into it, right? Remember all those other cases. And it was kind of interesting. It shows you a very important thing here, right? Is when you get the top flight legal representation, they go the extra mile. Anyone could have found out whether he was admitted in the Southern District of New York. Any of those other 13 cases, they don't do it. It's only when Jay-Z's lawyers get involved and they're like, oh, we're going to turn over every stone that they find this out. And by the way, just so you understand how to say, I'm not sure this is necessarily something that he did necessarily on purpose. I tried to figure out now, how do you even get into, or how do you file in court if you're not a member? Like, how do you get into 24-hour fitness if you don't have a card? To file a case electronically, you have to have an ID. You have to have when you get admitted to the bar, they give you a sign in, just like you do with all your online stuff. He has two other law firms, two other lawyers in New York that are actually helping him with the case. So chances are, I imagine, is they're the ones who did the filing and added his name to it. And they probably didn't ask themselves, hey, you sure you got it? You sure you got admission here? I'm not sure. I'm sure it's the kind of thing where they weren't thinking about it either, because he's a New York lawyer. He's been there forever. He's in New York City. Why would he not be admitted to the federal court in his own jurisdiction? And it is an interesting question as to why he wouldn't. But the bottom line is this, that this doesn't affect Jay-Z, the validity of the cases. It doesn't even affect his money. He's going to get his money. All right. He wasn't ever planning on trying these cases anyway. Understand that he had two other lawyers assigned to this. You ever notice how Benjamin Crump, who we all love, and who's everywhere all over the world, if you get beat by the police on the moon, Benjamin Crump is going to be there in a suit, right? At the press conference. How does he do that? He's not licensed in 50 states and the moon. He'd get a moon lawyer to come in and do that work, and he just stands there and does the stuff. So Busby was going to get, all right, is still going to be involved. He's still going to get his money. And even he says pending, if they actually admit him, and it's questionable whether they will, he'll be back.
Wow, that's
so.
Crazy.
This is the technical thing.
To me though, he's just coming off as slimy and sloppy.
Sloppy,
right? Sloppy. But for him, this is probably the most press that he's ever received in his lifetime, in his career. Like, Tony Buzbee's name is synonymous with the Diddy case,
right?
And he you're saying and he doesn't have anything to do with the Diddy case,
right?
So you're saying he's slimy and oily.
So that may be the tie-in. Didn't you see how it was back? The baby oil in his hair. I thought that he
exactly.
All right, everybody, do us all a favor and hit that like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button too. If you already subscribed, hit the share button, invite some folks over, turn on your notifications, and drop down in the comment. This is the part of the show that we go back to you algorithms as well as the lawyers to see who's guilty or not guilty tonight in the court of Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. First up, Kanye West, is he guilty or not guilty of being off his meds? Attorney Turner, what say you?
Oh, yeah. Look at that picture. It tells you everything you need to know. He's wearing a trash bag. He put like duct tape on his teeth. He has not taken whatever he's supposed to take in order to communicate with regular humans.
All right. That's guilty or not guilty?
Guilty of not taking his meds.
All right. Attorney Carter?
Yeah, he guilty of, you know what? I'm going to say he's not guilty only because he's so crazy. He's innocent by reason of insanity.
Attorney Weiss, is he guilty or not guilty for not taking his meds?
He is not guilty of calling me to put him on my next Netflix special, but he is guilty of not taking his meds and getting help. Right. This man needs help, period.
All right, I'm Alan. I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court. We're going to find Kanye West guilty. Guilty is charged for not taking his meds. And you know what's so sad is that his kids have to watch all of this because he's still very active with his kids. But I wonder what they're thinking, that their dad is charging their mother of selling them. That's what he's basically saying. All right, next up.
Worth is 10. The other ones are like 8, 6. Like, they're little kids. So hopefully their mother isn't allowing them to know about this stuff that's happening.
Something tells me North knows everything going on. That girl's in everybody's business. Okay, next up. After Yella Beezy, is Mo guilty or not guilty of knocking off who he knocked off? I don't even know who knocked off who. Attorney Carter, who's guilty and who's not?
Chances are excellent that Mo did it. Chances are excellent he got a rap song saying, Yella Beezy did it. Chances are excellent that he got a rap song explaining exactly how he did it. Chances are 100% that man needs to learn how to grow a full beard. That don't make no sense. You can't just have this guy. How you gonna kill somebody looking like Shaggy on Scooby Doo? Grow a damn beard before you start shooting people.
All right, Attorney Turner, guilty, not guilty.
I mean, he's guilty of looking like he's underage and likely making bad decisions. That may be part of his defense.
All right, Attorney Weiss, guilty, not guilty?
I'm guilty of not knowing who they are, not caring who they are, and just who cares, you know?
I'm Alan. I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court, and we're going to find Beezy, Yella Beezy, guilty. Guilty as charged. Just like, first of all, oh boy, you guys have got to know by now that there's a digital footprint in everything that you do. Phone calls, texts, money transfer, all of that. Understand it. They're going to get to it eventually. Next up, Elon Musk. Is he guilty or not guilty of having too many baby mamas? Attorney Carter, what say you?
He's not guilty. If you got $100 billion, you get to have all the baby mamas you want. I want to be clear here. Just being sure. He had agreed to pay her $40,000 a month. And because now he's mad, he could probably cut that down to about $15,000 a month. So, girlfriend, you better go make nice.
I feel these are crazy people problems. Go ahead, Attorney Turner.
I mean, she probably should buy some knee pads and invest in the kind of alternative dispute resolution that Attorney Carter mentioned. But I mean, we at least have to give Elon Musk credit for having fewer children than Nick Cannon, and he's got greater resources. So
it's close.
All right, Attorney Wise, guilty or not guilty?
I think he can't afford it just because of the fact that, every single Cybertruck needs a brand new windshield as of today. So he can't afford it no more. He's got to cut back where he can. And I think what he's going to do is he's going to use his power with DOGE and eliminate child support completely. So he'll be okay.
Oh my gosh, I'm Al, and I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court. We're going to find Elon Musk guilty in charge of being cheap. You're being cheap. That one. You're being cheap. Next up, Hailey Bieber. Hailey Bieber. Hailey Bieber.
Super chat.
I said it again.
Elon Musk is cheap. He needs to give a super chat to the show so we can keep going.
All right, next up, Hailey Bieber. Is she guilty or not guilty of being a crybaby? Attorney Weiss, what say you?
She is guilty. She's in the public eye. That's part of it. You take it. You don't like it, then get out of the public eye and go live under a rock somewhere.
Attorney Turner?
I disagree. I think she deserves to be happy with her husband, and I ain't mad at her. She's got the resources. Do what she wants. Sue, not guilty.
Right, Attorney Carter?
She's guilty of being a little baby. Girl, you rich. You've been rich. You didn't do nothing to be rich. All you had to do was be born and not die in the last 25 years. Just enjoy your damn self. Bye. I got something for you. Stay off the internet. All right? I'm going to stay off the internet too. I got some comments in here that hurt my feelings. But I ain't suing nobody. Although, Abby, you're getting close. 2 more and you're getting sued. All right? But that don't make no sense, right? You put yourself out there all naked on the runway.
You are not allowed to sue Abby NYC. I don't care what she says about you.
Abby, I'll defend the case pro bono, Abby. We're good.
All right, I'm Ellen. I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court. We're going to find Hailey Bieber guilty of being a crybaby. Like, come on, Ma, you got 60 more years of this. Like, get it together. At least Tony Buzbee. Is Tony Buzbee guilty or not guilty of being a sleazy lawyer? Attorney Carter, what say you?
He is. I think Attorney Turner put it best. I don't know, about his legal acumen. He's sloppy. I'll give him that. Yeah. How are you going to be that sloppy in court, but make that much time with your hair? You know how long it takes to get that much baby oil in your hair? That's 3-4 hours of styling to get your hair that greasy. You should less time on your hair and your tan, because that's another 6 hours, and more time on your filing. You might be okay, Busby.
Attorney Turner, guilty or not guilty?
He's guilty of not following the rules, and he knows better.
All right, Attorney Wise.
He's guilty of thinking he's above the rules.
All right, I'm Alan. I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court. We're going to find Busby guilty of sloppy lawyer, and something that you'll never get from these lawyers on this show. All right, everybody, tonight we've seen how fame, fortune, and failure collides in the courtroom of public opinion. Whether it's Kanye's imploding on the internet, rappers facing murder charges, or billionaires dodging their baby mama's lawsuits, or power couples shutting down for speculation, one thing is very clear. Celebrity doesn't exempt you from consequences or feeling like you're being attacked. But the real question is, do we hold these stars accountable, or do we give them passes because they're famous and they're rich? Whether it's defamation or redemption, exposure or exploitation, every case we cover tonight reminds us that in today's world, your words can sue you, your fans can judge you, and your past can cancel you. The jury is always watching, and that jury is you. This is Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, and court is now adjourned. Have a good night, everybody, and a great weekend.